there are some very good players in the NFL, and then there are a few great players in the NFL. And I'm going to give here a top 5 list of the NFL players that should be enshrined in the Hall of Fame. Now, when it comes to this, the majority of the players on this list are defensive players. 4 out of the 5 players are on the defensive side. Now, specifically in the secondary, for the most part, I think all the defensive players are in the secondary. Just a heads up right there. And I'm not saying there's other people that shouldn't be enshrined in the Hall of Fame, like Brian Dawkins. I think Brian Dawkins should eventually be enshrined in the Hall of Fame, but obviously I just didn't put them on the list. I just want to talk about these 5 players. Also, video format's going to be changing pretty soon, guys. I'm also thinking about getting new software. I might have an intro up for my channel. I think that would be pretty cool. I might just upload the intro individually. And just a quick heads up, I might make a video pretty soon on Julian Edelman's injury. He might be out for the season. He was carted off during a preseason game, and that could be big news for the Patriots. But on to the video. I'm going to be talking about this. So at number 5, I got Steve Atwater. Steve Atwater was, in the 90s, was the equivalent to what Cam Chancellor is. But I would say Steve Atwater was, I think he's obviously a Hall of Fame player. And when I look at Atwater, he's one of the most punishing and biggest playmaking safeties that has ever played in the NFL. He helped John Elway win 2 Super Bowls, and a lot of people kind of forget about that late Broncos team, about how talented it was. Sure, John Elway was kind of a little bit up in his career, but he's still a Hall of Fame player. You had Terrell Davis, a Hall of Famer. You had Shan Sharp, that's a Hall of Famer. You had, it looks like, Steve Atwater, of course, was a Hall of Famer, and then Rod Smith was also a very good player. And I look at Atwater, very punishing guy. If you guys know who Christian Okoye is, he's known as the Nigerian Nightmare, one of the best nicknames for an NFL player. Yeah, Steve Atwater, who's not a small safety at all. He's almost built as if he's an outside linebacker. And what he did to Christian Okoye, 250-pound guy, could run straight forward. Steve Atwater walked up to him, boom, hit him, and he just fell over. Christian Okoye just fell over. That's how powerful Atwater was. And he's definitely one of the punishing tacklers in the NFL. And please, in the NFL, I think a tackling can be a very important part right there, especially for the secondary. Now, the next guy on the list is Rodney Harrison. Now, Rodney Harrison is one of the most underrated players I have ever seen. He was a very dirty NFL player. He has the most fines given to him, but my God, this guy could freaking play. He was a well-rounded safety, mostly lean on the playmaking side. He could hit and get an interception, but he wasn't bad on coverage, very intelligent. I believe he has the record for most sacks by a safety. Of course, I think the most sacks belongs to Michael Strahan, I believe. But still, though, when you look at that, when you have Rodney Harrison, you're talking about a great player. He was on the San Diego Chargers in the 90s, very talented team. He played alongside Seattle. They were number 1 ranked in the defense. And also, then he goes to New England. People think he's washed up, and then he plays for 4 to 5 more years, 6 more years with the New England Patriots, and that's what you call yourself a career. And he definitely had great years ahead of him, even when people thought he was washed up. And when I look at Harrison, if you ever saw the Rodney Harrison Football Life, I recommend that you do. Obviously, the last play one of the last offensive plays by the New York Giants was from Plaxico Burress, a touchdown pass over Hobbs, and Harrison realized that he noticed Hobbs was one-on-one coverage to Plaxico Burress, and he wanted to audible something so he could help out there, but he didn't have charge of the audible. They said did it all-out blitz, and he realized that, but obviously they stick to the all-out blitz because that was the game plan and all of that. But hey, that's something about Rodney Harrison. Talk about great insight right there. Number 3 I got is John Lynch. Now, John Lynch is obviously a very good safety. He's very similar to Atwater and Harrison, very punishing kind of safeties, hit hard, regretful and all, and he was on that Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that was absolutely had a terrorizing defense. You had Warren Sapp, who was amazing at getting sacks. Obviously, for an interior guy, he would get up to 14 plus sacks, and that's absolutely ridiculous. And at the time, Brett Favre, who I think a lot of people thought was probably the best quarterback, or if you're not going to think he's one of the best quarterbacks, you just think he's the most exciting quarterback. He would get his number. Derek Burks was obviously a great player, obviously, who got a lot of plays right there. And then you got John Lynch. Now, when it comes to John Lynch, he definitely was a leader. I definitely think he has a good football IQ. He's now going on general managing. Now, John Lynch, he might not get his number called until 10 years from now, but hey, I look at John Lynch. He's definitely a beast of a player. Then you got Ty Law. Now, Ty Law is also a very underrated player. I think when it comes to New England, people either give too much credit to Tom Brady and all that, and a lot of people, you realize it's really the defense right there, because, and I think a lot of even Patriots fans would have been, it's the defense that was the best part of that team, and Ty Law was a shutdown corner. Yes, Ty Law came up in the biggest games, and he had that pick six in Super Bowl 36 against the St. Louis Rams when you had the greatest show on turf, when you had Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, I believe Torrey Holt was on that team. Yeah, I believe Orlando Pace, I want to say. You also had Aeneas Williams. So you're facing against a very team. And for underdogs, he came out there and he played very well. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champion, so obviously he did that part of the Patriots dynasty. Now, the thing you got to understand about about dynasties are they always have shutdown corners. I feel as if that whoever was on the Packers, I can't remember the Packers corner's name on top of my head, but the Steelers, they had Mel Blount. They had a freaking rule name after him. He was so dominant. Then you had Deion Sanders for the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, Rodney Lott, more of a safety. He could play corner too a little bit, so very versatile. But ideally, I think that shutdown corner part is very important right there. And the fact that he won 3 Super Bowls should put him over the edge. And I look at him, it's not as if he's like a system-based player. A lot of people, some people look at some New England players, they view them as system-based. I think a lot of people looked at maybe Deion Branch's system-based health. A lot of people thought maybe Julian Edelman is a system-based player. That's what some people believe, but definitely Ty Law was not system-based. He went to the Jets, he got 10 interceptions with them in a single season. I'm not a big interception guy when judging quarterbacks, but that's legit though. He got 10 interceptions, and I think he went to the Chiefs, and I think he picked off Peyton Manning twice when he's on the Chiefs. Yes, he always had Peyton Manning's number. Obviously, he was a tough player to go against Peyton Manning. He also feared. I think that's one player that he's right. He was tough. Now, the next guy on the list, I think a lot of people are expecting this, is Terrell Owens. Yes, I believe Terrell Owens should be in the Hall of Fame. Yes, I know T.O., he was a terrible teammate. Yes, he was a terrible teammate. But I feel as if any offense he went on, he made that offense better. When you had the 49ers, if the 49ers were just throwing to Jerry Rice when he could barely run, like, forget about it. That team's on the playoffs. You put T.O. there, T.O. makes that a playoff team because you got a real target to throw to. You put him on the Eagles. I think he's an influential part of why the Eagles went to the Super Bowl in 2004. Very influential part. And then you had the Dallas Cowboys. They had some success there. You had T.O. on there. Really helps that team. I think even the Bills, it helps their offense out. Hell, I think even him having on the Bengals helps their offense out. He's very, very good. And the one thing is, if you're big on talent, if you look at Terrell Owens is the most explosive wide receiver to ever play that game. That's something that's extremely important. So if you look at that, if he's the most explosive wide receiver, and a lot of people value explosive wide receivers, it's not as if it's run blocking for a wide receiver. This is being explosive coming off of the line of scrimmage. The guy was the best at it, and I think you have to put him there. Also, big thing I like to think, the most underrated quality of receivers is toughness. The guy was tough. The guy played with screws in his ankles. He had 11 catches in the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots. That's very good at Super Bowl 39. Talk about a fighting performance right there by Terrell Owens. And also, if you look at the wide receivers down the line, Julian Edelman, obviously he might have been injured, but Julian Edelman's one of these guys who, obviously he's not the most flashy wide receiver. He's not that good. A lot of people won't even consider him a top 10 receiver. Some people would say he's system-based, but man, he is a tough player. I saw him get hit by Cam Chancellor. He took that hit very well, but he keeps on playing throughout the game and later catches the game-winning touchdown pass. Hines Ward won 2 Super Bowls, a very influential player. And then you got Anquan Boldin, who a lot of people think he should be enshrined in the Hall of Fame. Obviously, he's not Hall of Fame eligible. That's why I haven't put on the list. One of my favorite wide receivers to ever watch, but he was very tough, and that's why he was a Super Bowl. That's why guys similar to Randy Moss, the reason why Randy Moss never won a Super Bowl is partially I didn't think he was very tough. There's times at the end of the Super Bowl when he was with the New England Patriots where, he could have had a better game. There's some times where he was one-on-one with a safety, and I didn't think he put in his full effort. He would put in his full effort if it's a very, very easy casual game, but when it gets like in a big moment and it becomes a little bit hard for him, I feel like he just didn't do as well. And overall, I made a video on why T.O. deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Another one, click in the link description. I also talked about whether Tony Romo deserves in the Hall of Fame. Click in the link description. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.